Hello everyone. I'd like to welcome you to a historical fairy tale. Have you ever thought that a single day, a single second, can change the course of history? That there is a day with so many what ifs that a mere swing of butterfly wings can affect the fate of thousands, if not millions, of people. Today, I have such a story for you. This is a tale of a day which changed the world forever. Imagine, you're a young person, you haven't even reached your 20s, and you live in a town where most of the people are of your nation. And you're a member of an organization which mainly includes youngsters. You can compare it to IRA, Irish Republican Army, or to Hong Kong protesters, since it's fighting for the freedom of your nation. You're hanging out with your friends, it's easy for you to understand, since you always go the same way to your health. And then you learn the news that a very important person is coming to your town. He's a politician, and he's a symbol of oppression over your nation, the embodiment of foreign rule. And not only that, but he's coming on a day that has a very special meaning to you. This is the date of an important battle for your nation, the point of national pride, a day of great glory for you, a patriot of your people. So what happens then? You become really angry as only a young person can be. You become driven by hatred, and you want to avenge your people. But here I should actually mention that this politician didn't intend on coming on this very day. He just wanted to escape from the arrogant elite of the capital, for whom his wife wasn't noble enough. And he also wanted to celebrate his wedding anniversary. And I should also say that this politician, it's ironic, he was one, if not the only, one of the few, if not the only members of the political elite of this country who wanted to give this nation freedom, who wanted to establish trialist monarchy, in which this nation would have had its autonomy. It's quite symbolic, like the fact that Alexander II, who wanted to give his nation constitution, was finally murdered by liberals. So let's picture the events of this fateful day. People are cheering and clapping, and the politician is riding through the town in his car. And you are eager to enter the door with one shot. But then you see a woman in his car, that's his wife, and you just can't bring yourself to pull the trigger. Note that on this very moment, the fate of humanity was in your hands. If you would have pulled the trigger, the future of humanity would have moved the other way. Then you see that another of your fellows can't finish the job either, because he had a technical problem with his weapon. But after that, another one of your comrades throws a bomb at the politician's car, but it doesn't kill the target. It just leaves wounded people behind. Now, let's imagine that you are not a young person of the same nation. You learn that the assassination was a failure, so it's done, it's off. Your dreams of becoming a national hero are dashed. Your want of glory of your nation is destroyed. So what do? You go to a canteen, pondering whether a snack will make you feel better. So you're having a meal, maybe feeling a little less blue. A familiar feeling, isn't it? But then you see the symbol of your oppression riding right in front of you. In front of the canteen you're sitting in. And here I should describe how he ended up in this situation. Actually, this politician, after the explosion, he decided to disagree with the authorities of the town and not to continue his trip, but to visit the wounded people in the hospital. It was an act of gallantry that is seldom for our days. So, this politician wasn't taken to a bunker. He wasn't taken away from the country with a little army of guards, which we would have done our days. Can you imagine that? Actually, he decided to visit the hospital. But not only that. Also, his driver came from the capital, as well as his politician, and he didn't know his way around the city. So he made a turn, which made them appear in front of a canteen where the assassin, whose name was Gavrilo Princip, yeah, you heard me right, Gavrilo Princip, was located. Wasn't it easy to imagine that it could have happened in our days? But no, actually it's June 1914, and you're Gavrilo Princip, a Serbian nationalist who wants to end it all, who is filled with anger and hatred. So he takes out his pistol and shoots 2 historical shots that will change the world. So the Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife are dead. For you, for a nationalist, it was an act against oppression, against his oppressors. But for millions of people, it was an act of terror against martyrs. But no matter how you look at it, it was an act that changed the world these actors lived in. Because this war was great and it would change the world. So my message to you is, be really careful with what you say or do, because every little moment is important. It's all the small things that history tends to turn. For instance, this very event, it depended on thousands of coincidences. For instance, on a poorly chosen date, on a misinformed driver, on a change of plans, and on a sad young man having a sandwich. Thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen.